I think this could be our first fish. Maybe not. Oh yes it is. Yeah. Oh, that's going well. Good afternoon, it's Friday the 6th of October. I've popped out for a few hours this afternoon down to one of my local reservoirs and fished back in the spring. I thought I'd come down and have another go today. Water level's gone down quite a bit and put a bit of a bend in the rod. Just sort of taking a break from the canal really. As you know, if you've been following me, I've not had a lot of success on the canal just of recent. Certainly not this year compared to other years. It's been quite dire. So I thought I'd come and treat myself to a few hours of fun. I'm back on the canal tomorrow night with Cameron. So I just thought I'd come and test a few rigs and check a few things out, make sure everything's working as it should do. I've probably been set up and fishing for about half an hour now, and I've just got the first fish. I don't think it's a monster, but it's a fish nonetheless. And as it's been a little while since I've seen anything other than bream and hybrids, I thought it'd be nice to come and do this. Funny how they always wake up when they get towards the net. It's a nice little common, he's lively enough. Come on you. But up to the spreader block and he's ours. There we go. See, my bite alarms do work. Just testing out a new little travel mat I bought for down the canal, saved me carrying the bigger one. Hold still, hold still, hold still. There we go. Probably only about, I don't know, 5-6 pounds, something like that. But it's a bit of fun, that's the main thing. That's what I came out for today. Today I'm just going to fish some singles on the hook, and I'm going to fish with stringers. Just four bait stringers I think today, just to get some bait out round by the hook baits. I'm not putting loads of bait in because I'm only here for a few hours this afternoon. Just a bit of fun really. Put a bend in the rod. It's an absolutely gorgeous day. And I've got the wind's on my back here. That's why I'm sort of sitting here with my back to the shelter here, keeping the wind off me. Sun shining down, it's absolutely lovely. And as I said, I'm just going to make up some stringers, and I'm going to fish some stringers. Rather than ground baiting or putting out kilos of boilies, I came here in the spring, as you know, so all I've got is some 4-bait stringers. I'll just slip that end over the hook and then slide that up against the hook, and that will keep those on during the cast. I'm only going out about 40 yards anyway, so they're not going to fly off. But I'm just going to make a few of those up at the moment. I came here in the spring, as you'll have seen on one of the videos, and had a few fish, and I just thought it'd be nice to come for an afternoon while the weather's still good before it deteriorates, as we are in October now, and see if I could just get a few fish this afternoon. There are some quite big ones in here. Don't know if we'll be lucky enough to get one of those, but it would be nice. I'm on the canal with Cameron on Saturday night, so I thought it'd just be a nice little trip out, test the rigs, get a bit of fresh air, not take things too seriously. Right, I'll go and put those on and get those out. I've got some marker elastic on the line, so I know where I'm casting to go out to the same spot each time. I've picked a marker on the horizon as well. Try and be as accurate as possible. Put those on, slide them up to the hook, they'll be nice and tight, and then when the PVA melts, they'll all be deposited nicely around the hook. It's quite deep here, even though the water level's right down. That's gone down quite nicely actually. Makes a change to be on some nice dry bank rather than paddling around in mud as I have been of late. Very clean on the bottom, going down with a lovely donk, and hopefully we won't have to wait too long for a fish. I'll just knock a few boilies out in the general direction as well of each rod. Anything that then coming into the area will come across these. And I'll just top up if I start getting a few bites. The old seagulls are after the bait. They soon learn, even the young ones. Mind you, we don't have a closed season anymore, so when we had the closed season, of course, ducks and seagulls and things never got fed by man, so during that period, and learnt to become wary of him. They're not bothered at all by you now. That'll do, I think. Time for a cup of tea. Right, I'll bring this other rod in a moment. Put another stringer on that. I'll just check that, make sure it's, because it's on a pop-up, this one. Let's just make sure that it's doing its job, which it is. I should imagine, time's ticking on, it's about 2:30 now. I should imagine when we get to about 3 or 4 o'clock, the fishing should pick up again. Loads of little insects and bugs about. I'm surprised there's not a lot more fish on the surface taking, because they'd be blowing onto the water from all these trees here. Well, they probably will a little bit later. Just seeing, speak of the devil, one's just jumped out there now. Done exactly that. I saw the sailing club out a few minutes ago, just checking the water depths, obviously for the sailors on the weekend. As I said, the sailing club came in early, and what they actually did is they've moved the buoys into different positions, obviously for the sailing on the weekend. I was using one of them to line up with, and they've moved that in, but I'd made a note of other features on in the back of that, so I know I'm still in the right area. Come on, fish. The sun's gone in now and it's clouded over, all the sky has. It's absolutely perfect. Just chilled off a little bit as well. I've just been down to the rods. Had a recast on each rod, and it's absolutely alive with little midges and things down there at the moment, hovering above the water. I've started to see quite a bit more activity, a few more fish, and they're head and tailing, which tells me that they're taking insects just in the surface film at this particular moment, but they're popping up all over the place. I was just contemplating putting some zigs on, to be honest, but because I started to see a little peaking activity like that, but with the time at the moment, it's about 3. Let's have a look. Yeah, it's about 3:15. I know that it's going to chill off very shortly, looking at the weather, as we just get the other side of 4 o'clock, and some of these fish should start pushing down to the bottom. But you wouldn't think so for October, that you'd actually have so many insects about as there are at this moment in time. It's quite incredible, really. Oh, it's lovely here at the moment. I've got 3/4 of the reservoir to myself. I shan't move because I keep seeing fish where I'm fishing over both rods and around this particular area, and I don't think there's going to be any advantage to moving off anywhere. I'm getting a few little plucks and tweaks on the indicators. Probably just line bites and that, because I've not backleaded here at all. Whereas I normally favour backleading wherever I go. There's quite a few rocks here and I don't want the backleads dropping in between the rocks and snagging me up. Anyway, hopefully action will start soon. Years ago when I used to fish this when it was a members water, I used to wade out to that island that's in the distance there in chest waders from the shore on the left hand side and pitch my bivvy up on there. It was a good place to get out into the central bowl and fish up the reservoir for carp and other species. Well, here we are, I've got another one. A little bit better than last time. Certainly gave me a jolly decent little fight then. But for once in very good condition as well, mouth wise and down both sides. Lovely, good bit of fun. Just have a quick look at the other side. Yep, it's in very good condition. I'll get that put back. The thing with this type of fishing is you want to just keep putting it in little and often as you're getting bites. It's better than putting out a big bed of bait out here and then not getting any bites and then realise you've made a mistake and you're in the wrong place and need to move. Better off dribbling it in. And as the bites pick up or you start getting bites, you can keep adding a little bit more. But you want to keep adding a little bit all the time anyway, just to keep the swim lively and keep fish interested and get fish coming into the swim. Right, time for a drink. Well, this one's certainly going well. It's taken off about 60 yards of line so far. It's really going for it. Doesn't feel particularly big though, which is a shame. As I said, there are some big ones in here. There's quite a few over 20, there's a few over 30 as well, although I'd probably be lucky to get one of those today. Speaking of 30s though, I was watching on YouTube this morning, and strangely enough, a gentleman I watch called Tom Winter, he's been fishing on the canal, and he'd caught a 29-pound 13-ounce fish, which is absolutely colossal for a carp out the canal, although there are some 30s in the canal as well, I know. But Tom's a very good angler. If ever you've watched any of his videos, I suppose you'd describe him as a matchman type specimen hunter. It doesn't matter whether he's fishing for roach on the river, tench on a lake, or carp off the canal. His approach and his tactics are always very, very good. And I actually quite enjoy watching him, and he talks an awful lot of sense. And I know that one of his ambitions was to catch a 30 out of the canal this year, to be just a few ounces short is quite painful, I should imagine, even though I should think he's chuffed to bits. And then he went back a couple of days later and he caught a couple of other fish. I don't know Tom, I've never met him, I've just seen his videos, but he's interesting to follow, and it's well worth checking out, to be honest. Oh well, it's in here somewhere. Oh, you come. You've tangled yourself up a bit there, haven't you, matey? There we go, that's all clear. Yeah, it hasn't got a very good mouth, this particular one. But it's our first mirror of the session. Lively one at that too. Quite dumpy. But it'll do. Right. Oh, that's going well. Left hand rod this time. Whoops, don't fall down the stairs. When they're running like that, there's no need to strike into them, you just need to lift. They've already hooked themselves. Quite a few cormorants over here, I've noticed. Gathering up obviously for the winter, coming back in from the sea. It's not so long ago where they were seen as the death of most fisheries, or were going to be. Because of them eating a lot of the small fish and that. But it's not turned out that way. Fishing has still survived. And they haven't done as much damage as people initially thought. I merely mention it in reference to the current otter situation. Whilst I offer no opinion on it whatsoever, it'll be interesting to see in a few years' time how devastating that's turned out to be. I certainly know that if I was a fishery owner, I would not be taking any chances, and if possible I would certainly otter-proof my fishery all the way round. After all, it is a business and it's your livelihood. Well, it's certainly been some good fun for a few hours this afternoon. It's a nice change from catching bream. And not much else this year. And that's the one thing I did notice as well, it's quite funny, is I've been catching bream for so long, I've sort of just gotten used to and become blasé about how slimy they are, I suppose. And I've held all these carp up for the camera today, and of course it's totally different. Anyway, I think this is getting somewhere near ready for the net now. Another common. As I said, there's an awful lot of insects about at this time of year. But then again, we don't tend to get the frosts and the real cold weather that we used to get a few years back. There we go. Well, it's another pretty little common. It's lost part of its fin on the top there, dorsal fin. But it's no good being lively now, come on. Hold still. We'll put you back in a moment, come on. He's not happy. There we go. Still, his mouth's in good condition. That's one of the main things. Anyway, that'll do. Fish number 4. I've just gone back up to rebait the other rod, and this one's gone back off as well. So, as I guessed, probably done a good 30 yards of line or so. But as I guessed, we'd get to about this time of day, and the fishing would pick up a little bit. I thought that had come off just for a second, but it hadn't. It had just turned and it had belted in towards me. Quite a change of direction. So, for all those people, especially you young uns that are told that stringers are old-fashioned and not worth considering, before you go making up PVA bags and PVA meshes and other things, they are worth giving a go, because they do still work, which is no surprise. I've fished on the river for roach for a number of years with a centre pin reel and a stick float and shirt button style shotting, and that still works. I adapt the shotting pattern every now and again to where the fish are in the water, how deep they're feeding, but I don't know why it is in sort of match tactics or pleasure tactics, things tend not to go out of favour, for good reason, because they're pretty sound tactics and techniques. But in carp fishing, I think the problem is everybody's always looking for the next thing, because they're trying to sell products all the time. And they'll tell you you've got to have this rig, and you've got to use these leads, and you've got to have these rods and that. and it's not always the case. It's almost ready for the net. Another mirror. That will do. I'll just pop this one back and try not to fall in at the same time. If he'll let me. It's being a bit awkward. Come on, mate. There we go. Well, I'm going to end the vlog here. I'm going to carry on, although I'm going to carry on fishing for another hour or so, having a bit of fun, enjoy myself while I'm here. But I'm going to end the vlog, as I've said, and stop filming now and just concentrate on the fishing. So, until the next time, once again, thank you all very much for watching, and good luck with your angling.